Hi guys! Now that I'm all caught up with Pretty Little Liars, as you would have seen in my reacting to the finale video, I was really excited because I was like, I can finally do a Pretty Little Liars tag. I've avoided watching any of the tag videos before because I thought that I would see spoilers and I didn't want anything ruined for me. So I hadn't looked at any of them, but I popped on to Steph from Scottish Steph's Nails, whose channel I'll link in the description box, because she had done the tag a few weeks ago, and I went on and looked at it, and the questions are good, but there's a few kind of like fashion-y related questions in there, which it's not really my forte. So I was like, I wonder if there's any other Pretty Little Liars tags out there that I could look at. So what I decided to do was put a twist on it by answering the questions to the Gossip Girl tag for Pretty Little Liars, because the questions, all except one, are all really relevant, so I think it should be fine. So question one is, how did you discover the show? Now, I have known about this show for a very long time. It started in 2010 and I have known about it and been aware of it since then. Thankfully, I haven't been aware enough to have anything ruined for me, but I've kind of known what the premise of the show was and known that it exists through social media and just everyone talking about it really. So many people have talked about it for years, and I've always said that I wanted to watch it, and then didn't get the opportunity until it arrived on Netflix in January, and the rest, as they say, is history. Question 2. Who's your favourite character? I've mentioned it a few times in various platforms that Spencer is my favourite character. I absolutely love her. I actually love all of the main characters in this show, like the 4 main girls anyway. Spencer, Arya, Emily and Hannah. I love all of them, and that's kind of unusual. There's usually, like in shows like this, one character that you don't like quite as much, but I think that they all have some really great qualities, but they're also all quite flawed. I think it's really great that they all are evidently quite flawed and that is explored, because I think that always makes characters more interesting when they're kind of three-dimensional rather than just perfect beings put on the screen. However, Spencer is my favourite. I think that Troy Bellisario does the most amazing job of playing that character, because she is obviously incredibly intelligent and she does have a sort of confidence in herself on the surface, but underneath she's got this real vulnerability that I think comes across really well, and I just feel for her. There's just been so many times, like throughout the entire Toby working with Mona situation, and when she was in Radley and everything, I just wanted to go and give her a big hug because I just felt so much for her. I just, for whatever reason, feel like I connected very quickly with that character. Question 3. Who would you see yourself being friends with in the show? Well, I would just link that back up to the last question and say I would definitely see myself being friends with Spencer, but I would actually see myself being friends with all of them. I would love to just be like welcomed into the gang. That sounds awful, they have such traumatic lives. Why would I want to be welcomed into that? That sounds insane. But A aside, and all of the craziness aside, I will live to regret this if it turns out that one of the girls is working with A. A lot of people seem to think that Arya is involved. I don't know why. Since this is the Gossip Girl tag, I'm going to relate it back to Gossip Girl, but I feel like in that, the friendships, there were, at their core they were friends, but they just constantly fought and fell out and betrayed each other and backstabbed each other, and it was just awful. Whereas in Pretty Little Liars, despite all of the craziness, it feels like the 4 of them as a core group are really loyal to one another. They haven't, you know, A has sort of given them so many opportunities to turn on one another and they haven't done it. And taking Alison out of the equation, because she is an awful person. I do feel for her slightly now at the end of season 5, because with everything that's coming out you're like, oh okay, well, you know, there's maybe nothing that you could have done, but she was a horrible person beforehand. So, you know, taking her out of the equation, the other 4 seem like a really genuine group of friends. So yeah, I would like to be friends with all 4 of them. This is a question that isn't relevant because this is Cheer or Dare, but I'm just going to replace that with who's your favourite couple in the show. So I think probably Hannah and Caleb would be my favourite couple in the show. I have had very strong feelings for a lot of pairings in the show. I love Spencer and Toby. I also liked Spencer and Ren, despite all of the ridiculousness with him. I actually really like Emily and Paige. I wish Paige would come back because I really like that kind of pairing. So there have been a lot of couples that I've enjoyed watching on screen, but I think Hannah and Caleb are my favourites. Other than that horrible time when he went off to Ravenswood, they've just always been really constant in each other's lives and been so supportive of each other, and I just think that they're lovely. So they are my favourite couple. I'm going to just throw a total spanner in the works as to what I just said, however, because the next question is, what is your favourite ship that would never actually happen? Now, just in terms of like couples that aren't actually realistically going to be put together, I would kind of like to see Spencer and Caleb, because I really like the friendship that they've developed over the course of like season 5. So the sort of times that they've been working together where Spencer's been helping him to decode things and all that. There's been little sort of hints at that throughout the first few seasons, but then it's really been more in the last season that you've seen them spending any real time together. And in the kind of, I think it was the second last episode of season 5 when Hannah was in jail and the girls were round at Caleb's discussing what they were going to do. The other girls were ready to leave and Caleb had kind of said, Spencer, can you wait? And they kind of sat and she comforted him, and I just think that they have a nice chemistry, and it's totally different to the chemistry between Hannah and Caleb, which I think is just this really real genuine attraction. I think there's a kind of like fun intellectual spark between Spencer and Caleb, just in terms of he's so like tech savvy and she loves to kind of get involved and see what he's doing, and I don't know, I think that there could be something quite interesting there. However, I would be heartbroken if they broke up, Hannah and Caleb, so that is the one that definitely won't ever happen, but I think has potential to be cute. If you were to be a character, who would you be? I think I would be... Oh, I don't know, that's really hard actually. I think all of the girls have kind of qualities that I can kind of relate to sort of some extent. Emily's kind of very like fiercely, loyally protective of her friends, which I think that I like that kind of idea for me, but I also feel like sometimes she can maybe expect a little bit too much, so there are occasions where someone will maybe mess up and do something wrong. There was a couple of occasions in like season 3 round about then that Spencer had maybe done something and Emily like held it against her for ages, which I just thought was unnecessary. If I was forced to pick, I'd say Spencer, but that's only because she's my favourite character. Question 7 is, have you read the book series? No, I have not read the book series. I do know how the book series ends. One of my friends had mentioned that, and so I don't really know if now that I've got so much into the TV show if I would ever actually bother going to read the books. Maybe I should at some point along the way, because if they are as addictive as the TV programme is, then I'm clearly missing out by not reading them, but no, it's not something that I've done so far. I've got like a croaky throat, I don't know what's going on. Question 8 is, who's your crush on the show? Now my kind of instantaneous answer for this, which I mentioned in the TV boyfriends tag, which I filmed last week or a couple of weeks ago, is to say Ren, because have you seen him? He's a very attractive person. So I really kind of did fall for Ren in the kind of earlier series, but then there was that whole stupid, I mentioned this in my blog post the other day, that stupid moment where Ren randomly apparently went evil and got Spencer's mum taken off Hannah's mum's case, which makes absolutely no logical sense whatsoever, because that would either mean that he was trying to protect Spencer or Melissa, neither of whom had anything to do with Weldon's death, or that he was working for A or he was working for Cece, neither of which situation has ever been referenced ever again at all. And some people have said that they think that he's Charles, and I'm just not comfortable with that. I'm just not accepting of that, so we're just going to put that to one side. But yeah, in terms of who's just a really good looking person, I would say Ren, but over time I've just fallen in love with Caleb. In that episode that I was talking about where Spencer was comforting Caleb when Hannah was in jail, Spencer said something to him about, once this is all over, we need to find a way to clone you because you're like the perfect boyfriend. And I was like, that's so true. He's just lovely and he's gorgeous. I mean, in the earlier seasons he looked alright, but then when they kind of like cut the hair and the stubble was happening and everything, he's just turned into a stunning looking person. So yeah, my crush now would definitely be Caleb. Question 9, what was your initial thought of the show? My initial thought of the show was positive, but it didn't do justice to how addicted I was going to get to it so quickly. And finally, question 10, who is your favourite villain? I think my favourite villain would be Mona. The way that it was kind of revealed that Mona was A in the first couple of seasons genuinely blew my mind, because thankfully it was something that I had no idea was coming. I really like getting surprised by things. I like twists that kind of take my breath away sort of thing, and so I don't know if I just had deliberately not been looking, but that really surprised me. And then I felt like Janelle Parrish, who plays Mona, just like stepped up her game just a million notches over the course of like the next couple of seasons, because she's such a good actress. And Mona then just became, she went from just being Hannah's kind of like slightly annoying friend to this amazing, really scary character who you just didn't know what she was going to do next, and she was so smart. So yeah, my favourite villain is Mona. So that's it for my Pretty Little Liars tag. slash Gossip Girl tag. I really hope that you have enjoyed that. If you are a Pretty Little Liars fan, please let me know in the comments how you felt about the finale and whatever. If you want to go and watch my reacting to video, I will link it on the end card. So if you decide to film this tag video, do let me know in the comments below and I will go and check it out. And I hope that you're having a lovely week. So thank you very much for watching and I will speak to you again soon. Bye! 5 years, 5 freaking years of my life, I've never given up on PLL, and when they tell us who he is, I don't even know who it is. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that it was going to be